In this video, we are going to be talking about some of the hottest NFT projects you got to watch out for. From Yuga Labs, the trial of Jimmy, Japanese NFTs are exploding, and China enters the NFT space. Now, before we go ahead and get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, the first thing we got to talk about is going to be what's going on in the markets. So similar to yesterday, everything is pretty much trading sideways. As we can see on OpenSea, when it comes to the NFTs at least, even though crypto is kind of trading sideways, NFTs are kind of having a moment where certain things are pumping because there are some bullish narrative news. So let's go ahead and cover the project that has the most attention right now, and that is going to be the Bored Ape Yacht Club and Yuga Labs ecosystem. So the first thing we got to cover is Yuga Labs recently teased out an activation, and they are calling it the trial of Jimmy. So essentially, when you go on this website, right, it's almost like a mystery puzzle box. You have this like treasure chest looking kind of thing. You click in here, and then this thing loads. And then from there, you play this game. Now we're playing this game, we're dragging and dropping, we're trying to figure out what's going on. Are there clues in this thing? Are there something that we have to find? And after playing around with it for a little bit, it seems like we need a key to open this box. But once you start clicking around and you create an account on the Yuga Labs website, what you're gonna find is this little grid over here, right? So basically it's saying that if you have a Bored Ape, and you have a Bored Kennel Club, and you have this mystery thing, which might be the key, then you're gonna get the highest tier, which is tier 4. Now, if you have a Bored Ape and you don't have a Bored Kennel Club, that's tier 3, and then Mutant Ape, Bored Kennel Club with the mystery thing, tier 2, and then just Mutant Ape, that is tier 1. So what's going on over here? Well, nobody really knows what these tiers are or what you're gonna get. I believe it's going to be a mint based on everything that they said so far, but what is this mint going to be? Is it gonna be valuable? Is it gonna be part of a game? Nobody really knows, but it's getting people excited to buy the floors. So over the past day, because of this news, the NFTs are pumping. So when we are looking at the Bored Ape Yacht Club floor, it went from 78 ETH all the way to 80. Looking at the Mutant Apes, it's going to go from 16 ETH all the way to 17. So it is going up. In Bored Kennel Club, there has been an increase a little bit, kind of back at 8.8. So, it's still a little bit of a pump, right? It's not like a crazy pump. And I feel like, the Bored Kennel Club doesn't really get as much love as the Mutant Apes and the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which makes sense because based on, the graph that they're putting out, obviously the Bored Ape and the Mutant Ape is going to be the most beneficial. And then the Kennel Clubs are kind of like the support. And I understand why they would do this because, I think the Bored Kennel Clubs kind of feel left out. It doesn't feel like you're really part of the ecosystem. So they got to create that buy pressure to increase the price of the floor so that the higher the floor price for a product, the higher people perceive that thing of value, right? And so if you can increase the value of all your assets at the same time by doing this thing, great. Something to keep in mind is that will the prices of these assets from the Mutant Ape, Bored Ape, and the Bored Kennel Club decrease after everybody mints whatever these tier things are? That's definitely a possibility, and we've seen that with the other side's mint, which was the previous mint in the past. So definitely want to keep that in mind. So this activation with Yuga Labs supposedly is going to take course over the next year. And I think it's because, this is a more easier way to engage the community, to get people excited, to drive buying volume into their ecosystem while they basically build the other side's game, which is still connected to Yuga Labs, which will probably take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to build this whole metaverse kind of concept, right? Because we've seen like Sandbox and Decentraland build for so long, and it's not really hitting the mainstream quite yet. So you definitely understand that other side, I would say, is even more ambitious and will take many, many years for sure. So this is definitely a way to get people excited for the short term, to make sure people don't forget. And then also it's a way for people to, have these assets increase in value. And also if they get these, if they mint these opportunities, maybe they can sell it and make a little bit of money. So I understand why they would do that. Now, next piece of news that we have to cover is going to be the Chinese National NFT Marketplace is set to launch next week. That's right. China, of all places, is going to be open to NFTs. And I kind of understand that sentiment. If you open your own marketplace and you kind of control that marketplace, then you have more control over what people buy digitally, and it makes sense. Right now, we're in this whole renaissance or this whole wave where everything's going more digital. Digital ownership most likely will become a thing of the future. So whoever owns the platforms and the infrastructure and takes a percentage of every transaction that happens, well, it's almost like taxing the internet. And so I can understand why a country like China would get into the space, and I can understand if other countries follow that suit. Now, will people use this product versus like OpenSea and everything else? It's possible, but we'll have to see how they roll it out. Next project we are going to be talking about is going to be the Parallax, which is our community over here. Last night, we actually had a session called Mint Talk NFT Investing and Winning in Web3 with my boy Mitch over here, who is the CEO of Metaverse HQ. So basically, he gave his insights how to become a great trader when it comes to trading NFTs. He showed us a lot of different tools, also showed us his project as well, Metaverse HQ, if you want to check that out, where basically they have builders and traders and everybody come together and hang out. And that is minting pretty soon. But the whole takeaway from this is, it was a holder event just for Parallax holders. And it was actually pretty cool because Mitch kind of shared shared his screen, and he was actually trading real time, and he was kind of looking at like NFTs that he was going to buy, and he literally spent like a couple ETH on something. And then on that presentation, after an hour and a half, he exited his position and made about 0.5 ETH, which is nothing to sneeze at. You know, it's like he actually gave a presentation about NFTs, he showed us a demonstration, and then he made money on the presentation itself. So that's pretty sick that he did that. So if you want to just check out Metaverse HQ or check out the Parallax, where we're going to have all these type of events more in the future, make sure to check those projects out. All right, next project we are going to be talking about, it's going to be this Japanese one called HUGEE, and this one recently started blowing up on OpenSea, right? So on OpenSea, you can see the floor right now is 2.2 ETH for these cats. Now these cats apparently have a lot of relation to, I believe it was Amazon, like the Amazon uses this in Japan for certain things, for certain designs. And then I was trying to understand like what this project is about and who is it by, and then I basically found this link to this website called BAYC, which is kind of like podcasting / Patreon app for Japanese content creators. I'm not exactly sure how popular this person is, but we're kind of seeing he's getting, you know, tens of thousands of listens. Well, 5,000, 7,000, 2,000. Okay, so he gets thousands of listeners on each podcast. So everyone's talking about this because the floor's price is high. But the thing for me, I'm a very skeptical person in NFTs in general, right? So I'm always looking out for the red flags. So when I look at this, it's like 20K supply, 2.2 ETH price. Now, when you go on their Twitter, you're not really seeing like a lot of engagement. You know, it's like 100 and stuff like that, 100, 6 and like 60, which is fine, right? But then it's interesting because like I'm wondering who's buying all these cats, you know, if it's 20K supply. So the point was the mint was 0.001, so it's definitely cheap. But you see the main wallet, this big wallet over here, has 10,400 of them. Second wallet has 3,000. So obviously these are probably related to the team somehow. This one has like perfectly 300, and then the rest has like 30 and stuff like that. So really, there's only maybe like 8,000 of these in the wild, not necessarily 20K. And because there's so many over here, that's a little dangerous if they start selling. I don't know if they will or not because everything's in Japanese, so I can't read it. I don't fully have the context to their plans, but that's something you should keep in mind, right? And also the other thing is like, you know, even if there's 6,000 supply, I wonder who is buying this at 2.2 ETH, because the trading volume is quite high. It's, you know, 449, but at the same time, it's like, you know, that's really just like 200 sales, right? It's interesting indeed, because I just don't know who the buyers are. And based on the social media engagement, I still don't know who the buyers are, right? And so that's something that I will always keep in mind. I'm not saying that they're doing anything shady or anything. I'm just saying that if I was looking into buying projects, those are the first questions that I would ask to understand who is buying it, who is their target audience, why do they believe in this project for the long term. But overall, you know, when we're looking at the art, it's kind of cool, right? It's cute, it's cool, it's Japanese. I personally like the art. I would love to learn more about the story and learn more about the person creating this once I have more time. Next story we're going to talk about is going to be Proof. Proof is going to be launching their Grails Season 3, which basically it's a very cheap mint. I believe it's 0.05. Basically, if you have a Proof pass, you're going to be able to mint one at random, and then hopefully you get a lucky one that is, you know, very sought out after, right? And it's pretty cool that the mint prices are pretty cheap for these Proof. So the floor price for a Proof pass is going to be 35 ETH, and then you're going to be able to mint these for cheap, like practically free in a sense, right? So that's one of the benefits for having a Proof pass. How valuable are these Grails going to be? It depends when you get, I suppose, right? But just want to give you guys that update. All right, and so with that said, that is everything we got to cover for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And if you want to get educated in NFTs and join live AMAs and online courses, make sure to check out the Parallax Genesis. Link is in the description. That is our community if you want to be a part of it. With that said, I will see you in the next one.